This computer. Lovely. Welcome all to mine and Emma's first unofficial podcast style recording, which we've called Unmuted. Emma, what is our mission with this podcast style that we're doing?
Lovely to see you again, Ben. Our mission, which is ongoing in a very fluid way, is to help people to consistently communicate with clarity and with confidence when they are showing up on various mediums of social media. So whether this is a conversation that you're having on a Instagram or anything that you're actually going to repurpose material for, the idea being that with a few tips and tricks, we can communicate with even more clarity. That's the premise.
And confidence.
And confidence, absolutely, of which you have bags, which is
Somehow,
lovely. Yes,
somehow, it's
like
built up over
luggage.
time.
Yeah, it's nice. Carries charisma. It's
Charisma,
something,
darling.
yeah. And do you know, somebody said to me today, can you develop charisma or is it something you're inherently born with? I think it's a bit of a combination. What do you think about that?
Very good question. I think you can learn a lot of techniques. I've been doing tons of networking events through my life, starting my first business. That was my bread and butter, going out and doing networking. And you start off in the corner, scared to death, not knowing how to talk to anyone. And you just have to force yourself to come out and be yourself, I suppose, and more charismatic in order to engage with people so they buy from you at the end of the day. So it was networking that really helped my charisma. What about you?
I think, in a way, because I come from a very large family, it was a case of speak up or just be shoved in the corner and ignored.
Yeah.
Very kind of put baby in the corner.
So it was
Youngest of
four.
four
You
children,
were forced to.
youngest of four and forced.
Oh,
And
goodness me.
also, actually, we grew up in a very unusual environment in that my family had a hotel. So from a very young age, we were on kind of show publicly in a sense of get out there and make the magic
Ah,
happen with the customers who are, of course, always right. So
yeah.
there's probably lots of different ingredients in the crucible of charisma. But I think it's like you say, it's something but I think as you perhaps become less young, it's something that you become happier with yourself. So perhaps there isn't that kind of forced idea of I've got to be this or there's a pressure, and actually maybe a sense of take me as that I am.
You become less apologetic or more unapologetic, don't you? You
Loving
become
the
a,
double, loving
yeah.
those double negatives. I
Sorry.
think perhaps you, no, I think you just perhaps maybe don't care so much what people think,
Exactly.
or you just actually say, this is it. I tend to overuse it a lot, but the moment I'm saying my vibe, my tribe, and I
Good.
feel if I'm too joyful for people, which
Yeah.
actually was the feedback that I got when I did my master's degree from my professors, was I had too much joy to be a voice coach and I would burn out. And I thought, oh, this is
What
interesting.
do they know?
Well, who can
Uh,
have too much joy?
Similar story. I was an English teacher at the age of 18 in Madrid, and I was teaching lawyers or something in a group class, and they were able to give feedback on the company website because I was working under a company. And they said, Ben is great, but he laughs too much.
There we go. That's why we're here today. That's why we found each other, which is
Yeah,
great.
exactly. Anyway,
So
how have you been?
very
It's
good.
been a
Very
while.
good. It's really, really good. Thank you. And actually, that not too much of that ferocity of, oh my God, new year, let's just nail this. Just a sort of beautiful, more of a transition into, yeah, waking up slowly to the new year. And I've got some very exciting things on the horizon for the year, which is lovely, as I think you have as well. And I think so, less ferocity, less chaos,
Yeah.
more peace, but just, yeah, organic, which is nice.
What's one exciting project that you've got coming up in the next few months?
Oh, well, I've been asked to give a keynote address to, I think there's a moment between 60 and 80 women on International Women's Day, which is
Wow.
lovely. So
Oh,
that's a
brilliant.
big, and that's exciting. That's in Shropshire where I live. So
Oh,
that's a
local.
lovely idea. And they're really, yeah, so that's exciting. And I'm looking forward to that. And it's going to be quite interactive. So rather than me kind of talking to a room of people and them getting bored, it's going to be right, this is how we do it, giving them some really implementable exercises, get them on their feet, warm them up a bit, and bring, excitement and enthusiasm to the room.
And that's one of the first topics that I wanted to cover with you is
Great.
warming up your voice. So I often find myself waking up in the morning and wanting to record a video, and I usually do them outside. So I go on a walk and I do them outside. But if I've just woken up, you'll tend to find that your voice is quite croaky. So how do I prepare my voice for recording an absolutely popping video for social
Mm.
media?
Well, first off, the most important preparation that you could do is hydration, hydration,
Oh,
hydration. If
yes.
you aren't drinking enough, and it really has to be water before you try to slip any of that gin and tonic stuff under my radar, Ben,
Hello.
I think, yeah, I because it does just take the edge off, doesn't it, on a cold January saunter
Yeah.
down those Devon lanes.
Yeah.
So if you are generally, we don't drink, do we, through the night, unless you're pulling an all-nighter, which is obviously not on the cards if you're going to
No.
be professional about your recording. So if you do know you're planning to do that, really, really ensure that the night before and the day before, really, really hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And people think, oh, well, I don't like it and I don't want to do it. You have to do it because your voice will thank you for it. Herbal tea is okay, but really not coffee. And normal tea can be quite astringent as well on the voice. So really good method is to drink lots and lots before and maybe even a warm, slightly warm water, or even if you have a bit of a sore throat, bit of honey, bit of lemon, those things are great as well. So that's all before and leading up to it.
Yeah.
If you want to do a little steam with water, that's really, really good as well. Over, that's it. Obviously under the yeah, which is a lovely way. And actually, if you were a professional actor, they'd be doing that very much so. They'd be steaming their
Really?
voices. Very much so. A good night's sleep. Let's not underestimate that. Your voice is your barometer of your soul, Ben.
Easier said
If
than
you're
done.
all cranky, no, if you're cranky and croaky, it will manifest in your vocal delivery. And actually, we're very clever as humans. We will be able to discern the I'm just putting on the brave face voice. Your listeners and your audience will be able to discern that, Ben.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You
just a
mentioned
balance.
about your body thanking you for it, and I immediately thought, well, your audience will thank you for it too, because it won't sound like you've woken up and smoked 20 cigarettes.
Yeah, well, I obviously don't smoke less than 30 before I get up. So it's a do you think it's like it's such a dirty word now, isn't it? I don't smoke, but of course, people you can hear it
Yes.
in remind me at some point to tell you about a fascinating Maria Callas documentary about
Yeah.
voice and loss of voice I've been
Yeah.
watching. But yes, absolutely. So moisture, hydration, completely vital. If you are losing your voice for any reason or you're feeling a weakness, like for a lot of people, myself included, our throats, when we get tired or we get run down, a lot of people, it manifests in a sore throat. If you know that you've got filming coming up or you've booked in to do a podcast or something like that, rest your voice. And when I mean rest your voice, I mean nada. Don't be tempted to whisper. This is even worse for our
Really?
voice than like, yeah, yes, it's
Is
really
it too much strain on your
counterintuitive
voice
to a
box?
recovery. It's just absolutely your vocal cords are going, it's not good at all. So just, feel free to put a little badge. I've done it before, a sign around my neck. I kid you not. Do not talk to me, please. I have lost my voice completely. And I've done it. I've done it, and it's really funny. People just laugh, but it's hilarious. So you've got out of bed. First thing really we want to do is warm up our bodies as well, because you and I have spoken about this before, and it's so important, is when we are de-energized, our voice is de-energized, and they're so hand in hand. So literally, if you had 5 minutes now, which we can do if you want, I would
Yeah.
do some lovely big yawns and stretches, like a big giant coming out of that
You're making me
cave.
yawn.
Oh, yawning is fantastic. Yawning is brilliant for voice.
Yeah.
We love yawning. So yawn on. Okay, big loud yawn. And shake out, shake out, shake out. Couple of these nice neck rolls for any sort of like shoulder rolls, I mean, actually. Forgive me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could take this off. Actually, you can actually see what I'm doing.
Neck
So some
roll.
shoulder rolls, ideally this way round rather than this, because we're doing enough of this sat at our desk. Okay.
Okay.
So dropping
Backwards.
our chin,
Posture.
moving that around. Yeah, lovely. Golden thread. I think we talked about this as well before. Literally just a movement. And then activity wise, so you do actually want to move your body, so again, just by moving around a bit, any movement that you can do is going to be beneficial. And then we think about our breathing in, inviting some nice deep breaths into our belly rather than clavicular breathing. We want to avoid that, so we don't want to breathe with our shoulders. We want to try and keep a relaxed stance, and really, again, tension, enemy of the voice, Ben.
Yeah.
Tension, enemy of the voice. So anything loose that you can do is great. And then with our mouths, we're going to so what we're doing here is we have resonators, which, think
Yeah.
about if you had an electric guitar and you didn't have something to plug it in, it wouldn't sound very good. Our voices are the same, but these are actually hollow spaces in between. We have our nasal, we have our head ones, we have a nase, we have pharyngeal ones, and we have our chest ones as well. So these are cavities, but we want to warm them up. Think of it again, it's very similar. You wouldn't expect a professional athlete to go and do a race without warming up. So
Yeah.
even if you can do 5 minutes of this before you do your recording
Yeah.
for whatever content that you're producing. And then we're going to just literally do our waking up of our mouth like this, yeah.
Jaw.
I call that, yeah, jaw is lovely. These lovely little pissy form, don't laugh. It's a tiny little bone. What they're for, I don't know. It's that pea-sized bone that's
Yeah.
there on the corner. We want those that rub our jaws nicely.
Oh, we did
Lovely.
this before, didn't we?
We
It's
did,
brilliant.
yeah. It's lovely, isn't it? Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
More yawning. And then we're going to imagine so really, if you're working with other people, I would invite you to put your hand in front of you as a sort of spit guard. But if you're on your own, it doesn't matter. And we're going to literally try and use our tongue to stretch our tongue. Our tongue goes all the way down to the bottom here, believe it or not. Our
Wow.
tongue root, the root of our tongue is right
Yeah.
down here. At some point, remind me to show you an MRI scan of an opera singer. It's mind
Well,
blowing. It's
sounds disgusting,
incredible.
but I've seen is it an ox's tongue? That sounds revolting, but you've seen them. But yeah, I don't
You
know
Devon
where
boys, honestly, I don't know what you get up to there
where
in
did I
the.
see one? Yeah. Anyway, moving on swiftly.
Wow, I'm glad I've
Revolting.
not been invited to your Christmas party with ox tongues. Honestly, yeah, slow roasted with some nice garlic. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, times are hard. We're getting
Strongest muscle,
getting the groove. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's now just think about if there's a tongue that you're going to do. Get that tongue out, side to side, up to the nose and down. Any movement like that you can do is absolutely fantastic. In conjunction with this, I always love this exercise, which makes me laugh, which is it's a with our, I might call it the horse lips exercise. It's like,
You're going to a different frequency. I can't hear it.
I know, isn't that fascinating? I
Yeah.
can, if I do this, maybe you can.
Ah, there we go. Yeah.
Your
Crazy
turn.
frequency. It didn't pick it
Your
up.
turn. I know.
I feel like a car engine or a motorbike engine.
It's it. Top gear all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the frequency's done it. And then what we're going to do is a really fun one as well. I love doing this. Is we're going to eat that lemon that we're going to put in our margarita later, our frozen margarita. Lemon. And then we go to the zoo and see a lion. That's it, with our hands as well. Come on, let's go to that lion. Yeah, it's great. Go to the zoo. So lemon, lion. Lovely. And then just a big shake. Lovely. And then we do, and then we're really going to start to and some lovely tongue twisters. You probably know
Yeah.
a few of mine. Peter Piper,
Peter
all
Piper
these
picked
ones.
peppers.
Peter Piper picked.
Peter
Betty
Piper picked
Butter
peppers.
bought some butter. Absolutely
A
available on
woodpecker would
demand in
chuck wood,
whatever.
chuck wood. A
That's
woodpecker.
go gentle into that good night with the pheasant plucker.
A woodchuck
Do you know
could
that
chuck
one?
wood. No.
Yes. Well, it's
If a
not for
woodchuck
all
could chuck
ears.
wood. Ah, come on.
It's a family show. Yeah. Well, that's your homework. I'd like expect you to prepare a tongue
The
twister with
woodpecker.
each letter of the alphabet. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be quite fun, actually. What's your tongue twister of the week
Tongue
or the
twister of the week.
fortnight? Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a
I'll
great
work
one.
on that.
Let's do that.
So we've got our voices all warm now. What content ideas have you got for me today, Ben? Just give me a couple of things that I am feeling, which actually isn't so far from the truth. Calm and nice, but not really very enthused as to what I could add in January. Should my content be seasonal? What couple of things could you throw at me to bring on some nice content ideas?
Your content can be seasonal because it can seem more relevant to the times. A downside to it being seasonal is you can't repurpose it unless you wait a year, right? So,
I'd not even ever thought of that.
yeah. So I sounds
You
silly,
mean, yeah.
but I quite often you won't find me wearing a puffer jacket in my videos because I can't post it in the summer. I wouldn't anyway, but I'll tend to wear normal layers. In England, you wear layers in the summer, right? And you wear layers in the winter. We wear pretty much the same. So it can be pretty universal. Now, in terms of what to talk about, it's a question I get a lot from my clients. The best way to think of content ideas that actually resonate with your target audience is answering the questions that they already ask you. So, what are their challenges? What are their frustrations? What are they questioning you about your product? What do they not understand about your product or service? What services do they not understand that you might actually offer already? It's quite a common one. I've been approached by a client recently. They're frustrated that their audience doesn't understand that they do X, Y, and Z. So, simple content plan for them is to start talking steadily over time about the different services that they offer. Now, for example, for my old business, which was selling health insurance, which wasn't a very sexy product, people would often compare it to the US healthcare system, which the UK is nothing alike at all whatsoever, because we've got the NHS, of course. And people thought it was too expensive and they thought it covered emergency treatment. So those are the kind of things that people came to me with. Oh, doesn't it cover emergency treatment? What about the NHS? Or isn't it really expensive? Well, there we go. There's a content plan. Just answer those questions in your content. Break it down as well. You don't have to answer all questions in one video. Spend 20 seconds. Client asked this to me. A client asked me this today, and this is the actual answer. People think this, but actually, dot dot dot. Does that make sense? Like
Yes.
the great thing about answering your audience's questions is they reveal exactly it when it answers exactly what they care about, and it's going to resonate with them, and they're going to go, oh yeah, damn, I didn't know that, right? And it positions you as the expert and the trusted authority within that field, so you start becoming the go-to expert within that field, so people recognize you as the dog's bananas. Terrible term, that's not the right term, is
Mm,
it? But I didn't want to swear.
wow. No,
So
that's well done. Nice.
so in a nutshell, just to summarize, don't overthink it. Questions and frustrations people share with you are the great content ideas that people will resonate with. And the great thing is if one person is asking you, guess what? Another 10 people are probably asking the same question, but haven't yet asked you it yet. So you're speaking to a lot more people than just one when you're answering those questions.
Mm. when we have another one of these, Ben, I'd like to delve a little deeper into when you say the word audience, is that really I'm talking a lot at the moment of having real thoughts about niche and the importance of niche. And when you have a product like yours, and even indeed like mine, that actually is helpful for so many people,
Yeah,
how do we narrow that down? So I'm just going to make a little note on my paper for when we do our next one of these, is to have a little talk about that, because I think sometimes I
yeah,
asked a fellow voice coach yesterday, had a
yeah.
great conversation, and she said a really interesting answer. Now, bearing in mind Antipodean, she's Australian, she replied,
Go on, do
I
an
am
Australian
my
accent.
well, it's a, she's quite light. It's quite light and quite high. So it's I please don't put this one out. It was I am my own niche.
Okay, what does that mean? Sh- Okay, what does that mean?
Well,
It's very deep.
it is deep, and it is what I think it's for another time,
Yeah,
this conversation. I'm not sure. Yeah, and I've worked with a few other coaches, and they've said, let's do this exercise that will enable you to manifest your ideal client. And it's like they like think about this person you've really enjoyed working with. And I'll be perfectly honest, I love what I do. I can't think of anybody who I haven't enjoyed with. And demographically, they're all over the shop. Some of them are women, some of them are men. They're
yeah,
actually humans. They all are
yeah,
humans that I've worked with.
yeah.
Haven't actually worked with, although I do on the subject of Maria Callas have some lovely, I shall send it you later, lovely recording of her teaching her poodle how to soprano sing, which is hilarious. I haven't actually worked with animals, but when I work with humans, all ages, I don't work with younger children, but I work with a lot of teenagers, a lot of young people. And I think my eldest client is a lady, she's in her 70s, who's
Yeah.
kind of housebound. And so where's that huge gamut? It's just
You're
enormous.
you're in an incredibly um, great position whereby you've got fantastic clients. A lot of the time, people approach me because they're attracting the wrong clients, either because they don't enjoy working with them or they don't understand they don't value their offering. But because you've built up a great business over time, you are recommend. This is just an assumption, obviously, but you are obviously attracting the right clients because you're giving out the right message, and therefore they're recommending you to people that they know, like, and trust. They know, like, and trust you, so they're recommending your services to people they know, like, and trust, which are similar people in character.
Yes. Well, funnily enough, I did have this conversation with somebody and who I've been working with recently, a brilliant chap who's sort of musically very, very capable and technically, and he just said we both agreed because we're doing projects together, we're collaborating, and we said we don't only want to work with people who get us. Forget it. It's not about the monetary return. It's
Yeah,
about working with those people. And actually, I think when people start out in business, there's this kind of rapaciousness of like, I've got to get him, I've got to get him, I've got to get him. And it's like, just have a little bit of faith that they will come to you. And I think that's, if somebody said to me, if I could look back on your former self, it is that maybe just have a little bit, I know it sounds a little bit mind, body, spirit, but actually having that belief in what you do, and rather that kind of that imposter syndrome, what if I, well, how can I make it better? How can I make it better? Just
yeah,
keep on and trust that what you're doing is right, and they will come to you. But
exactly.
it's a big gamut, and a lot of people
Yeah,
can't get their head around that mindset, Ben.
yeah. And I'm only a few months into this venture,
I
as
know, and
as
look
viewers will
already.
know, and I've
Yes.
had a number of inquiries, and all the inquiries that I've had are people that I like. And obviously, you don't like everyone in the world. Like, people, there's unlikable people everywhere. But as long as you're giving out the right message, this is what I teach my clients. But luckily, I'm doing it myself as well. Practice what you preach. Then you'll start attracting the right clients that you enjoy working with, and that you can
Yeah.
work with, and that value your expertise and offering.
Yes, yeah. But in fact, this person I spoke to, this coach who's been going obviously a lot longer than I have, she said, which was interesting, I thought, when she's actually now naturally gravitated, or she gets a lot of business in manufacturing and agriculture, which
Yeah,
I thought as a voice and communication coach was fascinating. But
yeah,
what she said was very much so, she doesn't really know anything really about that realm. That's not her expertise zone. But because she's worked with some of those people within that sector of that industry, that's a recreation. So that was quite an interesting takeaway from that conversation is
yeah,
if you do find, and of course for you with your like myself, but your background is really varied. But chances are you might find more of an alignment with the kind of maritime or the naval people than you would with the health insurance, because I think that's more your bag in a way.
yeah, exactly. Most definitely.
People.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Right. What was the name of the city? Istanbul.
Oh, do you want to ask me about when I'm off to
Yes.
Constantinople? Yes, yeah, yeah. But before we do that, did